Good morning. Sound bath. It's not some new form of technology using ultrasonic waves to shower. It is a perhaps modern interpretation of a meditation practice, which I'll get into in another series. You may have seen these advertised perhaps at yoga studios, a way of inviting people in to occupy space that otherwise wouldn't be used. And in of itself, it's not a bad thing. As a matter of fact, artistically, it's a great piece of performing art. But as a tool for meditation, it is nothing more than a sound for the sake of sound. And unless you apply certain approaches to a sound bath series, you'll miss out on the wonderful opportunity to awaken to yourself. Now, the two discs right here are a bit of technology. Don't normally endorse technology, and perhaps this is maybe construed as an endorsement, and it's not. It's just something I found that works for me. You have to research it yourself, understand the principle behind it, and make a decision for yourself. Now, I did put the information in the description with the usual disclaimer. This has not been provided to me by the manufacturer, nor am I being paid to use it in my presentation today. The concept is quite simply this. Imagine, if you would, you walk into a crowded restaurant. Sit down at your table. It's lunch. Let's use a lunchtime. And there's a level of din going on with all the talking. Here, over here, over here. It's completely random as far as your brain is able to discern. And if it's in the right environment at the right volume, you really can't make out any one specific line of speech or conversation. Instead, you hear random words. This, that, though, if that, blah, 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 blah. Believe it or not, that is a moment of sound bath. It's a wonderful tool for meditation. While you wait for your order, sit there, eyes open, relax your vision, and listen to the space where the sound occupies. Not the sound itself, but the space, that of the restaurant. And suddenly begin to realize how spacious the space you're in is. And that reality is more than just sound, it is space. All right, chances are I probably lost a few people there, but hang on, this is going somewhere. You'll see. Let's take sheet music, for example. You can look at a piece of sheet music and you see, let's say, 4 quarter notes per measure for a 4/4 beat. You play 4 notes in a specific mathematical key, and it sounds wonderful. It flows. But what about those periods in between the notes? Or even an actual measured half rest where nothing is played, just to extend the moment. Or a whole note where you sound it once and it just fades into the next note. The way to approach a sound bath is that the sound that you're hearing, whether it is the mumble jumble of spoken conversation in a crowd, or specific sounds produced by mechanical bowls or bells, is to listen to the space in between the notes. The sounds are merely just bookends. They're a way of designating the beginning of space and the beginning of the next space. Much in the way we breathe, we notice the in-breath, we notice the out-breath. And I've mentioned this before, the brief period of non-breath, how many of us actually pay attention to that? So, quick review. Like breathing in and out, there's a period of non-breath. As in music, you have a note and another note with a brief period of no note. Yet, space is a substance. It only describes a function of what's not occurring in that moment. Pay attention to it. Instead of the notes, pay attention to that. Likewise, when you're in a crowded environment, instead of seeing the idle chatter of people's voices as an annoyance, see it as bookmarks that illustrate the space that which you're sitting in. So, brings us to this. I'm going to bring the microphone closer. Right now, you're hearing a random sequence of tones that are harmonically complementary. Breathe as you normally would. Try not to follow the pattern either. And pay attention to the space in between the tones. Remember, the tones are just bookmarks to denote the beginning of one space and the beginning of the next space. It's a 3-minute session, and 3 minutes is very important. It's 90 seconds twice. And if you let the space in between the tones envelop you, you may just be surprised after just a couple weeks of practice. A lot of your thoughts, a lot of your emotions quiet down. Remember, the point behind moment to moment is to take a momentary period of mindfulness and extend it out, which is why 90 seconds is doubled to 3 minutes, and this makes this a perfect tool. And that's why using the environment as your meditation tool is a great way to bring you into the real world. Thunder is a perfect example, especially if the storm is on the horizon. There's no real threat, but you can hear the rolling thunder. Use that as your meditation tool. Sometimes I've actually played recordings of road noise, traffic, just the rhythm of traffic, the randomness of it. Much in the way I would use the voices in a crowded environment. Yet not giving it specific attention, but just letting it define the space that I am occupying. Sound bath can become a very, very useful tool that's very portable. If you go down to the beach, much as I do on the coast here, you use the surf, which is rather random if you think about it. It's not predictable. As it comes in, hits, and shh, shh, shh. It's the sound of the earth breathing almost, or its heart rate. And you let each sound denote the beginning of space and the beginning of the next space. And then you begin to realize how spacious the beach is where you're sitting. Takes the attention off of yourself and begin to realize how interconnected you are to everything around you and everyone around you. So there you go. Sound bath. Read the description. There's some references in there, some links that I encourage you to follow. Check out what the manufacturer says about its product. You may want to consider it for future. Bookmark it in your web browser. And as always, be still and know